Let's talk about what I hate about living in Wilmington, North Carolina. If you've watched any of our videos, you know that we talk about Wilmington, North Carolina and the surrounding areas, the good, the bad, the ugly. So in this video, I want to discuss with you the 4 top things I hate about living in Wilmington, North Carolina. If this content is helpful to you, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up right now. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. You'll be notified every single time we upload content just like this about Wilmington, North Carolina and the surrounding areas. We always try to bring it to you guys straight, just like it is, without any fluff. So without further ado, my name is Jake Wyer with EXP Realty. Let's go ahead and get into the top 4 things I hate about Wilmington, North Carolina. You're gonna wanna stay tuned to the last one because it might be a little bit surprising if you're not from here. So number 1, and I don't think this is gonna be any surprise to anybody, is hurricanes. We are definitely hurricane prone here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I think everybody that lives here will agree that on their calendar between August and October, there's a possibility of a hurricane. Those are our worst months. September, I think, is probably the worst out of all 3 of those months. And right now we are sitting at the very beginning of September as I shoot this video. So we're right in the middle of hurricane season. What sucks about hurricane season is not what you think it would be. It's yes, there's flooding, yes, there's damage, and that's, spread out, and you can mitigate that to somewhat, and you can have insurance to help cover any kind of damages. Losing your power for days, even weeks, in the sweltering heat of summer without air conditioning in the South is horrible. It can last a really long time. You do not have AC, you do not have a refrigerator. What I would suggest to you, if you are thinking of moving here, buy yourself a generator. Buy yourself a really good cooler. And I'm not talking about Igloo. I'm talking about maybe buying yourself one of those really expensive Yetis, one of those camping coolers that can hold ice for a very long time. You will thank me for that. The majority of our hurricanes here, people call it hurricane parties when they hit. They're downgraded to tropical storms. But every once in a while, we get pounded with a really bad one. The only one that I've seen that has been devastating and was considered a 100-year storm here is Hurricane Florence, and it did some damage here. So not something to be trifled with, but I don't think that's going to be any kind of actual surprise to anybody that there's hurricanes here in Wilmington, North Carolina. So let's get on to number 2. Number 2 is the traffic corridors. Not the traffic, but the traffic corridors. DOT is working overtime to upgrade the traffic corridors here in Wilmington and the surrounding areas with bypasses and underpasses and turn lanes and all of the things that a growing area needs. This was definitely a sleepy beach community for a very, very long time, and I don't think anybody really thought it was going to grow as fast as it has. But the word's out on Wilmington. People are moving here in droves, and DOT is working overtime to try to create better traffic corridors to accommodate this. Now, Wilmington does have some very, very obvious geographical limitations with the amount of water that we have around us. We are looking like a giant pizza pie funnel. We have Cape Fear River on one side, we have the Atlantic Ocean on the other, and we have tributaries and creeks all over the place. So we have a lot of water around here, and it really limits what you can do with the traffic corridors. If you're coming from a big city, like Los Angeles or New York or Chicago or any of these ones, you're really going to notice that there is a lack of true highways and freeways without stoplights. What they call a highway here definitely is a glorified street. There's going to be traffic lights. There's not going to be turn lanes. People are going to be stopping. It definitely is something that both me and Lexi really felt when we moved here, that there really wasn't a whole lot of true highways and freeways. So that's changing quickly. They're doing quick construction work as fast as they can to accommodate these things. I think it's going to be a game of catch up probably forever, like it is in most areas, but they are doing a lot of work here. So when you do come visit, you might notice that there is quite a bit of road construction going on, and that is to try to alleviate some of the problems that we're having with the traffic corridors. So number 3 on my list of things I hate about Wilmington is we're going back to the fact that this is a true beach town. The summers here are awesome. The beaches are beautiful. But wintertime, we don't really get super cold winters. We get snow occasionally, which is kind of a dusting of snow. But during winter, there really isn't a whole lot to do when the beaches are kind of cold and not really inviting. There's really kind of a lack of things to do here. It doesn't get cold enough to have winter sports like people go out snowmobiling and sledding and snowshoeing in the northern states. We don't have those kind of winter sports. We're just kind of gloomy, rainy. It kind of goes back and forth between, the 40s, 50s, pops up to the 70s occasionally. Not really cold enough to go do any kind of winter sports, but not really warm enough to go enjoy the beach. So it's kind of the in-between spot. And then people up north that are, shoveling themselves out of, 5 feet of snow are probably, rolling their eyes at me right now, I'm sure. But, there really is a lack of things to do here during the wintertime. So that's definitely a negative thing for me and Lexi. Now, number 4 is going to come as a bit of a shock to people that have never been here and don't live here. The locals and people that live here know exactly what I'm talking about. We have amazing air quality here in Wilmington, North Carolina and the surrounding areas. However, occasionally we have a cat urine smell. I think it smells more like a wet gym sock left in the back of a locker for a week. We get this occasionally. It's like once every month or so. The wind will shift just right and we will truly get a smell like this. It's not a myth, it's not an urban tale. People that do live here know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a factory off the 421, Fortron Industries, that creates automotive plastic that apparently creates this smell when they're doing certain washings of the molds and plastics, I guess, with acetone. They're trying to alleviate this, but there are certain areas that are more affected than others. Of course, the ones that are closer to the factory along the 421 and the 140 corridor definitely have a little bit more of this issue than some of the other areas. But when the wind turns just right and they're doing whatever they're doing at that factory, we have a smell that is odorous here in Wilmington. That might be shocking to a lot of you, and you might actually go ahead and type it into Google. Why does Wilmington smell like cat urine? It'll pop right up. So I'm not making this up. So I hope this is helpful. We always try to bring honest content to you. Overall, Wilmington's amazing. There are some things that I would change, but those are 4 of the things I actually do really dislike about living in Wilmington, North Carolina. Again, my name is Jake Wyer. If you guys want any information about Wilmington, go ahead and make comments down below and the surrounding areas. I'd love to be able to answer anything you have, make future videos that might help answer some things as well. Stay tuned. We're going to have a couple clips of some other videos at the very end of this. Reach out anytime. I'd love to help answer any questions, help any of you out. Again, my name is Jake Wyer, EXP Realty, and I hope you guys are doing well.